All right, West Virginia and Houston. How about this? We got a little Big 12 Thursday night action here. West Virginia 3-point road favorites, 52.5 being the total here in this game. Wow, this is a tough one here because West Virginia, it's not exactly a team that I trust laying points on the road. That being said, after that bad first outing against Penn State, they've won 4 straight. They've covered 4 straight. This defense has played really well. Against Pitt, they shut them down. Texas Tech, albeit that was a game where Tyler Shuck got injured. Baron Morton had to take over, and West Virginia completely shut them down in that game. And that's actually a more impressive performance by this West Virginia defense against Texas Tech, because we just saw Texas Tech with Baron Morton roll over Baylor pretty handily on Saturday. And then, of course, the big upset win at TCU, 24-21, 13.5-point underdogs. They go to Fort Worth in Texas there, and they end up beating TCU outright 24-21. Garrett Green's been steady enough, I guess you could say, at the quarterback spot this season. What I do like about his recent performances is he hasn't thrown an interception yet this year. You got to like that. And that's definitely been good news. He hasn't thrown for big yardage. His completion rate is, it's okay. It's not great, but, he hasn't made mistakes. He's relied on the run game and relied clearly on a defense that's a lot better than we thought. So, good signs here for West Virginia. Meanwhile, on the flip side, this Houston team, I don't like him. I don't like Dana Holgorsen. Anyone that's watched this Hitting the Books show for years knows that I'm not a big fan of this team under his leadership right now. And sure enough, you look at every team they've played where it's been a halfway decent team, they've struggled. Even the UTSA win in week 1, their first game of the year, that was all Frank Harris turnovers, in the second half of that game. If he doesn't turn it over, UTSA is probably going to win that game. So I don't want to give Houston credit for that. After that, they lose to Rice, and they had that horrible first half where they didn't even show up. That's on the coach. You didn't even have them properly prepared for the game, didn't have them ready to play. And then TCU, you get blown out 36-13. Okay, you beat Sam Houston 38-7, and that was their one game they really looked good. But then right back into the tank again against Texas Tech, give up 49 points to the Red Raiders in that game and end up losing 49-28. So I actually think if I were to bet this game, and I'm not a fan of either of these sides at this point, at this number, but I'd play West Virginia, and I would bet West Virginia -3 on the road before I take Houston, because the one thing I'm getting from West Virginia, Conor Mack, is some defense, and I'm really not seeing much of it from Houston, other than the Sam Houston State game. But Sam Houston's offense is probably bottom 3, bottom 5 in college football this season. Other than that, this Houston defense has not been very good. I think you've got the better defensive team here, even on the road, but at a short enough price where perhaps you can lay a field goal with West Virginia in this one. What do you think here, C-Mac?
I want the better defense, and that's been West Virginia. That's one thing that's, been solid all year long. And this total to me is too high. Now, Houston's defense is horrible, but I don't think West Virginia, we know this offense with Green, they're very slow, methodical, want to run it. They get into the 30s? I like this game under. I thought this total was way too high for a West Virginia game. And yeah, you mentioned it. Not a big Houston fan. He should have been fired a long time ago there. More problems. And last week with Houston, basically a tie game, and they didn't score a point in the second half. They just, it's just like, what happens there? And they didn't have a ton of turnovers. When I was going through the box score, I'm just like, what happened? Just nothing. So this team, I don't know what you're ever going to get. And even as a dog, we talked about, I just can't take them. But I like the under here better. I think this total is way too high.
All right, liking the under here with West Virginia and Houston is C-Mac.